Hello everyone, my name is Austin Munchahurst and I'll be one of your guest lecturers this week. So I'll be covering UX and analytics, design driven by data. So what is UX? UX is an abbreviation for user experience. User experience in general is how the user feels about your product or service. User experience is dynamic and is constantly changing, and it has to deal with the emotions, thoughts, feelings, and attitudes that a user has when using something that you've designed. User experience is experiential, it's practical, it's effective, and it emphasizes utility and efficiency in design. Often we'll find that if a design is too cluttered or it has too many things and people can't figure out what it's for, they don't use it, and it depletes what in usability we call the reservoir of goodwill, which means that when somebody first approaches something you've designed, they have a full reservoir of goodwill, and the more mistakes you make, the more frustrated you make them feel, the more their reservoir of goodwill is depleted, and the less likely they are to reuse your product. So what does UX, user experience, have to do with analytics? Well, in the world of web design, user experience, which is my focus in this grad program, analytics can do a number of things for UX. The first of which is issue indication. So once you have your analytics set up on your website, you have all sorts of things figured out. You know what your micro conversions are, what your macro conversions are. You have a plan and you know how you want users to use your website. And you have your analytics set up to track all that. Then analytics can indicate where something might be wrong. UX teams can use the web metrics to diagnose issues or use them to guide further investigations. UX teams can diagnose macro conversions, micro conversions using web metrics. Once you've diagnosed a problem, you can then use analytics to investigate what's going wrong. Investigation. You can guess the cause of the issues, change the cause, and then watch your analytics. If the problem that was indicated prior by your analytics, then you can use that to prove or disprove your hypothesis. Problems under investigation might be issues with traffic. It might be technical. Traffic meaning your audience isn't going where you think they're going because they're avoiding a page that isn't linked properly and doesn't show up. It throws a 404 error or something like that. Technical meaning that, say, your information is on a slide that when you mouse over, it reveals information. Well, if jQuery is no longer supported, or if you forgot to include jQuery or something, you would see that technical issue in your analytics, and you would go and look at it and be, oh, wow, I forgot to do that, and you could fix it. It could be your content. You could see where people are avoiding maybe certain articles because they're poorly written or because they're written by a guest writer and they aren't in the same style. You could diagnose that problem. You could diagnose navigation, dead links, or visual design. Within visual design, there's the idea of information architecture, which is that we read and scan in a certain way. We need to do that quickly, and if your visual design does not support that, then you need to change it. And that leads into the final thing analytics can do for user experience, which is point out these issues, these content and visual design issues. So say you have this website. You designed it in your interactive media design class, and it isn't doing what you thought it would do. Nobody really likes it. You have your work portfolio, your portrait, you have a description, and here's the button to download your resume. Well, you find that nobody's downloading your resume, and you can tell that they mouse over maybe your portfolio, and you can see that they scroll over the text because you've implemented custom JavaScript in your analytics to tell you such a thing, but nobody's hitting the button. So what can you measure to figure out how to fix that? How can you go over the prior slide specifically with your analytics? Well, the first metric you could measure is page view. That's just a good place to start. The second would be behavior flow. You would watch how people move through the site, and if you have maybe custom JavaScript, you can tell what they move their cursor over. You can tell where they're moving within a page. Funnels and goals would locate points of failure. Say you want them, say in that last website you actually had everything on a different page. You had a portfolio, you had a skills description page, and then you had a download my resume page. Well, you would probably want people to read your skills description page and then want to see your work and then want to download your resume. But if your work page, your portfolio page doesn't work, then you would be able to locate that point of failure and say, oh, I need to go fix this. Nobody likes this page. Nobody can get to this page. You could use that using your funnel. And event tracking, you could say you want to track micro conversions such as subscribing to your newsletter or downloading your resume. You can tell how that's increasing or decreasing over time. And user timings, you can understand how long it takes everybody to get through each page. Maybe your portfolio page is too long and you need to cut it down to just the most important stuff. Using all of this, you would come up with a better design where people would scroll through, they would understand the navigation with the F pattern that we read in. They would be able to track along and they would see description, skills. Oh, here's his or her work. Here is another blurb. And at the bottom, within this F pattern that we read in, they would find the resume button and complete your macro conversion. These are my sources. And here is my question for you, should you want to respond to this post. Define macro and micro conversions for your blog and discuss how your user experience design supports them. Thanks for listening. Have fun responding.